Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. For today's episode, I want to talk about how the Miami Heat finally have size, and this is the most size that they've had in the 6 years that Jimmy Butler has been on this Miami Heat roster, and I think this size is finally going to help the Miami Heat this season, and I think that size is going to play a part in helping the Miami Heat avoid the play-in for the third season in a row. So, the Miami Heat have been notorious for their small ball rotations. Eric Spoelstra, just like Steve Kerr, coach of the Warriors, liked to play small ball or positionless basketball, and it's worked technically at times, but it's also um, been an issue for the Miami Heat. So going into Jimmy Butler's sixth year with the Miami Heat, and after having success, but not ultimately having the ultimate success, which is winning a championship, Jimmy Butler has done everything he could, and I think one, this Miami Heat roster might be the best roster around Jimmy Butler, but then also, again, it's the biggest roster that Jimmy Butler has had around him. And that's good because Spo loves, again, with playing with small ball rotations. He likes to have 2 to 3 forwards out there. I mean, Bam Adebayo is a forward. He's not a real center, technically. He's 6'9". He is traditionally a power forward. He's mentioned this offseason that he would like to play power forward if applicable. But still, Bam is considered one of the best centers, whether he likes it or not, in the NBA. But Spo has been surrounding Jimmy Butler with smaller guys, and I think it's for defensive purposes. Again, he likes to have those wings, those 3-and-D type guys in his system. And every year that Jimmy Butler has been on the Miami Heat for these 5 seasons, going into his 6th this year, the Miami Heat have been a top 10 defense. Last season, I think they were number 5. So they've been top 5 defenses as well. So the formula has worked defensively. Offensively, not so much. And there's other areas we'll get into of where they struggled. But around Jimmy Butler, the 4 has typically, and Bam Adebayo has been typically players like Andre Iguodala, Jay Crowder, PJ Tucker, Caleb Martin, Haywood Highsmith, and if I'm forgetting anybody else, mention it in the comments. But I don't think any of those guys that I mentioned are taller than 6'6". Maybe Jay Crowder or Iguodala is like 6'6", 6'7". But either way, PJ Tucker is like 6'5". Martin was like 6'5". Same with Haywood Highsmith, 6'4", 6'5". So um, they've been relying on undersized fours again, which has helped, but ultimately there's been issues. Rebounding being one of them. Offensive rebounding, one of the worst teams. Defensive rebounding, one of the worst teams. Overall, 26th or 27th in the NBA last season in rebounding, and that's bad. That offensive rebounds, it doesn't allow being that bad at offensive rebounds, it doesn't give the Miami Heat second chance opportunities or points. And then on the flip side, on the defensive end, being a bad defensive rebounding team, that gave other teams second chance opportunities and points, which was super frustrating. There were times where players or players would get 3 to 4 to 5 opportunities on one possession, which was just gut wrenching to watch. But either way, with adding Khalil Ware in the first round as the 15th pick for the Miami Heat, we see that the Miami Heat finally have size. He is the tallest player in the Miami Heat. He is 7 feet tall. He has a 7'4" wingspan. We saw what he can do in the Las Vegas Summer League. He averaged 18 points, 8.3 rebounds per game. I think he averaged like 1.8 blocks as well. Preseason, first game with the Miami Heat, Khalil Ware, 5 rebounds in like 16 minutes, had 4 block shots. So, one, he's going to help with the rebounding. 2, he's going to be the rim protector that the Miami Heat needs desperately. But with having Khalil Ware now coming in and backing up Bam Adebayo, you have someone who is 7 foot that is also skilled offensively compared to his counterparts like Thomas Bryant or previous Miami Heat centers that were backing up Bam Adebayo, like Myers Leonard or Cody Zeller or Dwayne Dedman. So Khalil Ware is known for his defense and for his rebounding, which is huge. So you have a 7-footer there. Niko Jovic, who's been thrusted into the Miami Heat starting lineup next to Bam Adebayo last season, started like 40 games. He is 6'11". He is now 240 pounds. He came in as 215 as a rookie, so he's getting stronger, and that's good for the Miami Heat. So we have him in the rotation, 6'11". Thomas Bryant will be also in the mix. He's 6'11". Kevin Love will be coming in as a backup 4, and he's 6'8", and obviously one of the best rebounders during his career in the NBA. Still a good rebounder. And then we also added some good wings through the draft and through the undrafts are the undraft and also undrafted guys we added to the roster. So our second round pick, Pele Larson, is about 6'6". So he is tall. We have his teammate from Arizona, Kishad Johnson, who's an athletic freak. He is 6'7". We have Duncan Robinson coming off the bench, who's 6'7" as well. So, and Jaime Jaquez is like 6'6", 6'7". So we do have a lot of guys now who are taller, and we're adding some more athletic guys on this roster, which is huge. So I think this can definitely help the Miami Heat next season, where the Miami Heat have had trouble, again, protecting the paint and getting rebounds. Just getting defensive rebounds is something Kalel can help with, something hopefully Jovic can help with, Kashad Johnson leveraging his athleticism. Of course, Kevin Love coming off the bench and Thomas Bryant. We need them to rebound, and I think they will. So let's see what happens. I'm excited to see this lineup if it's potentially possible, where I would see either Terry or Tyler as the only guard in the backcourt, essentially having Jimmy Butler become the shooting guard, which he originally came into the NBA as a 6'7" shooting guard. Now he plays more of that like three, sometimes even four. But Jimmy at the two, and then having Jovic at the three, Bam at the four, and Kalel at the five. I'm not saying this is the starting lineup or should be the starting lineup, but imagine that in a point in time during a specific game, if you had that rotation. You have Tyler Hero, who's at 6'5", would be the shortest guy on the court. And I think that would be huge and fun to watch because they're all skillful, talented guys who can all hit the three, especially now that Bam is improving in that area, especially now that Jimmy has improved. We saw last season shooting over 40%. We know that's going to be more part of his game as he gets older. But anyway, excited for the size, excited to have more size for Jimmy Butler in this build. Let's see what happens. Hoping the Miami Heat can leverage this and avoid the play-in finally for the first time in 3 seasons.